This was my first CineWhoop, the DarwinFPV CineApe25. I bought it 2 years ago for just 90 euros on eBay and I've flown countless projects with it.
3, 2 und los!
But unlike the rest of my fleet, which has been upgraded to digital systems like DJI O4, Caddx Vista or the brand new DJI O4, this little drone is still stuck on analog. Today that's going to change. I'll be upgrading it with the new DJI O4 and test its capabilities. But why switch to digital? Digital offers incredible image quality and, in some cases, better range. Analog systems can struggle in environments with a lot of interference, like urban areas or behind obstacles. With digital, the video feed is clearer and more stable, and in my experience, digital gives me a significant advantage in places where analog would cut out or lose clarity. Plus, you can see the ghost branches a lot clearer. But don't get me wrong, I love analog, especially on my tiny whoops. Analog doesn't feel bad to me at all. I actually love the look and have no issues flying with it. But for cinematic shots and professional work, I prefer being able to see how the final shot will look. And when flying near people, I feel much safer with a clearer image. I started by testing if the O4 Lite would even fit into the frame. First, I removed the screws from the duct to get access to the old analog VTX. I unplugged the antenna and disconnected the VTX from the flight controller. To check if the O4 VTX will fit, I had to unscrew the old analog VTX. Fortunately, the plate where the analog VTX was mounted has extra holes with a 25 by 25 mm spacing, which was a perfect match for the new VTX. Next, I attached the new O4 VTX to the mounting plate. I used the included rubber dampers as spacers to get the right fit. Then I realized the original M2 screws were too short, so I had to find some slightly longer ones. Luckily, I had just what I needed. Sometimes having an overstock toolbox really pays off. The camera mount situation isn't quite as smooth. The included 14mm mount has a pretty frustrating hole layout and is too tall, meaning it doesn't fit into the frame at all. So I turned to the next best option, searching for a suitable file for 3D printing. Honestly, I'm not great at 3D modeling, so I figured someone else must already done the work of creating the right mount. Turns out, someone did, so I'll grab that STL file, adjust it in my slicer and hope it works. Next I had to check if the camera cable is even long enough for the frame. Looks like it should fit perfectly. But while testing that, I also checked the antenna length, and that was a different story. It turned out to be too short. Luckily, I already had the perfect solution. The antenna from my old analog system. With the camera cable and antenna sorted, it was time to check if the 3D printed camera mount actually fit into the frame. But first I had to remove the old camera. Once that was out of the way, I placed it in position and, well, not quite. Some parts of the frame's 3D print were in the way, so I had to trim a bit to make it fit properly. A little cutting, and now it sits just right. Next it's time to solder the O4 Lite cable to the flight controller. First I removed the wires from the old VTX. Since the CineApe25's FC doesn't have a dedicated plug for digital systems, I had to cut off one end of the cable and solder the wires directly. The power and ground wires go to their respective pads, while the RX and TX wires connect to TX and RX from UR2. The other wires aren't needed since I'm using an ELRS receiver instead of the DJI remote. Almost done. Now I just had to neatly route the cables inside the frame, connect the antenna and wiring and screw everything back together. But just when I thought I was finished, one last problem came up. Since the DJI O4 can only record internally and doesn't have an SD card slot, I need access to its USB-C port. Unfortunately, the duct was blocking it, so I made a quick fix. Grabbing an old soldering iron that I keep just for plastic work, I carefully melted away just enough material to make the port accessible. Finally done. Time for a test flight. Everything is set up, the build is complete, but the biggest question remains: can it freestyle? I'm actually surprised. Despite the camera being hard mounted, the footage stabilizes really well in gyroflow. However, for cinematic shots, I'll still be using an action cam or a naked GoPro on top. While the O4 provides decent 4K footage, it struggles in low light and doesn't offer a flat or log profile, which limits my ability to color grade effectively. For my cinematic shots, I lock my shutter and ISO settings to maintain full control, and to be able to see anything when flying through darker areas, I can then set the O4 to auto.
Ready for more, breaking out newborns, driven by the allure, facing life head on, blowing fresh at the door. No limits, all in it, yeah, be ready to soar. Every step that I take, every move that I make, anticipating, no more waiting, elevating the stakes. I'm full stride, eyes open, captivating the scene. True life, my time, liberating my dreams. Every challenge that I'm seeking to meet, I'm overcoming, steady grinding, keep my beat to the street. I keep my mind thinking wise, hoping better to keep. Rising high, go get it with the vision I see. I'm getting clever, yeah. These cakes moving, through with the take, ooh, with the thrill I create. Demons a plan, no overstand, I'm free in my zone. Drop hit, pick it up, goes full control. Don't mind if I splash while I thinking